Have you ever witnessed someone act so arrogantly, only to watch them get exactly what they deserve moments later? Or seen someone treat a hard-working person so poorly that you couldn't help but wonder, how do people like that get away with it? What if you found out that karma doesn't just work silently? It can strike back, fast and fierce, leaving no room for escape. And how does one viral video turn an ordinary day into a complete nightmare for someone with a reputation to lose? Today, we're diving into a shocking incident that proves no matter how rich or powerful someone may be, the universe has a way of balancing things out. You're about to hear a story of a wealthy woman who thought she could disrespect a black waitress without consequences. But oh, was she wrong. What happened next not only destroyed her reputation in seconds, but also left an important message for everyone watching. In this video, you'll discover how one moment of entitlement unraveled an entire reputation. How could something as simple as a cup of coffee turn into a scandal? What unexpected twist turned the tables on this rich woman so fast that her life would never be the same again? And why did this story blow up on social media within hours, drawing support from thousands across the world? This isn't just a story about a viral moment. It's a lesson in how small actions, whether good or bad, can ripple out and shape your future. Stay with us until the end to find out the surprising impact this event had on both the waitress and the wealthy woman. You'll also learn how kindness and respect can change someone's life, sometimes in ways you never expect. And if you've ever wondered what it really means when people say, "Karma never misses," this story will make you believe it. Curious to know what exactly happened and how everything unraveled? Stick around, because this story is filled with twists you won't see coming, and a powerful ending that will leave you thinking long after the video ends. Let's dive in. Let's dive into the heart of this story, the characters. A tale is only as gripping as the people at its center. On one side, we have the wealthy woman, someone whose sense of privilege and entitlement colors her every move. On the other, the waitress, a young black woman who, despite the hardships of her job, carries herself with grace. These two individuals, coming from vastly different worlds, collide in a way that no one could have predicted. The wealthy woman is a perfect example of someone used to getting their way. You can imagine her stepping into the café, dressed in designer clothes, perhaps clutching a leather handbag that costs more than most people's monthly rent. This woman embodies privilege. She's accustomed to people catering to her every whim, and when things don't go her way, her patience evaporates. This type of character isn't just fictional. Real-life instances of entitled behavior have gone viral on social media many times. Stories of wealthy individuals belittling service staff or lashing out over minor inconveniences resonate with audiences because they expose the ugliness of unchecked privilege. The rich woman in this story likely believes that her wealth and status place her above others, especially those working in the service industry. The scene in the cafe reflects this dynamic perfectly. A simple order goes wrong. Perhaps the coffee isn't hot enough or doesn't have the right amount of cream. Rather than addressing the issue calmly, the woman escalates it into a confrontation. Her anger builds, fueled by the belief that her money entitles her to perfect service. In her eyes, the waitress is not a person but a problem to be dealt with. This sense of superiority blinds her to the consequences of her actions. She throws the coffee not just as an expression of frustration, but as a display of dominance. The act is not just disrespectful, it's dehumanizing. And yet, in that moment, the wealthy woman feels justified. She believes that money can shield her from the fallout of her behavior. Now, let's shift the focus to the waitress. Working in a cafe is no easy job, especially for someone in her position. She may be juggling multiple tasks, taking orders, preparing drinks, cleaning tables, all while wearing a friendly smile. Being a black woman in the service industry adds another layer of challenge, as she might have already encountered unfair treatment from customers in the past. Despite these obstacles, the waitress remains polite. Her patience and professionalism shine through, even in the face of rudeness. But when the coffee is thrown at her, something shifts. For a moment, She's left stunned, not just from the physical shock of the hot liquid, but from the sheer audacity of the act. This moment of humiliation is deeply personal. It's not just about the coffee, it's about the deeper insult behind it. The idea that her dignity can be discarded so easily. And yet, in that moment, she doesn't retaliate. Her composure speaks volumes. It's a quiet strength, the kind that many people in service jobs know all too well, enduring mistreatment because they have no other choice. What makes the waitress's role so powerful is how relatable she is to so many people. We've all had moments where we've been treated unfairly but chose to stay calm, hoping that dignity and kindness would win in the end. This is why the story resonates. The waitress's grace under pressure mirrors the experiences of countless others who've endured disrespect silently. This encounter is about more than just a spilled drink. It's about a clash of worlds. On one side, we have wealth, privilege, and entitlement. On the other, we have hard work, humility, and quiet strength. The café, though ordinary on the surface, becomes the setting for a powerful story of imbalance. The rich woman believes that her wealth grants her power over others, including the waitress. But the reality is, power is fleeting. It only takes one small event, one viral video, for the roles to reverse. And this is what makes the story so gripping. The cafe is no longer just a place for coffee. It becomes a stage where karma plays out in real time. Beneath the surface of this story lies a commentary on social inequality. It reflects the way some individuals, blinded by privilege, overlook the humanity of those who serve them. The rich woman's actions are not just an isolated incident. They're part of a broader pattern that many workers in the service industry face daily. This encounter also highlights the ways in which race, class, and privilege intersect. The fact that the waitress is a black woman adds weight to the story. There's an underlying sense that the rich woman's behavior isn't just about a cup of coffee. It's about the power dynamics that exist in society. This adds depth to the narrative, making it more than just a story of instant karma. Another key element in this encounter is the role of bystanders. Other customers in the cafe witness the event, and their reactions are crucial. In today's world, people rarely sit by silently when they see injustice unfold. One person pulls out a phone and starts recording, a small action that will set the entire story in motion. The presence of bystanders adds tension to the story. Will someone step in to defend the waitress? Will the rich woman realize she's crossed a line? The suspense builds as the video captures every moment of the confrontation. This is where karma begins to take shape. The rich woman's actions, meant to degrade the waitress, are instead broadcast to the world. In her mind, she might believe that the incident will pass unnoticed, but the power of social media ensures that nothing stays hidden for long. What makes this story so compelling is how quickly everything spirals out of control. A small moment, a cup of coffee thrown in anger, becomes a viral sensation. The wealthy woman, who likely never thought twice about her actions, finds herself at the center of a social media firestorm. The speed at which events unfold adds an element of suspense. The audience knows that something big is about to happen, but they don't know exactly when or how it will unfold. This anticipation keeps viewers hooked, eager to see how karma will deliver its blow. The moment the coffee flies from the rich woman's hand, the story shifts from a private encounter to a public spectacle. That's the instant when an ordinary incident spirals into something far larger, a viral event that grips the internet. The cafe, once just a quiet spot for coffee and conversations, becomes ground zero for a story that explodes online within hours. This is how the power of social media turns a moment of entitlement into an unforgettable lesson. The initial seconds are full of tension. The waitress stands there, drenched and humiliated, while the woman, full of arrogance, believes she's won. In her mind, it's over. She's made her point. But what the woman doesn't realize is that the real story is only beginning, and it's happening in the hands of those around her. These days, it takes just one phone to flip the script. Someone nearby, maybe another customer, maybe one of the other workers, whips out their smartphone. They hit the record button. No one knows at that moment how significant that small decision will become. This is where storytelling and suspense meet. The camera catches every detail: the woman's smug expression, the waitress's stunned reaction, the steaming liquid dripping from her apron. The video captures not just the act itself, but also the unspoken emotions, the entitlement, the humiliation, the tension in the air. Every second is now documented, frozen in time. Social media thrives on moments like these. People don't just scroll past scenes of injustice. They stop, they watch, and they share. What happens next is a snowball effect. One person uploads the video to a popular platform, and before long, it's being shared across multiple platforms, each share amplifying the story further. Every viral moment has ingredients that make it irresistible to viewers: a clear villain, an innocent victim, and justice waiting to be served. In this case, the rich woman unknowingly plays the perfect villain. Her arrogance, her obvious wealth, and the racially charged undertones of her actions make the video impossible to ignore. People who watch it feel an instant emotional response: anger, empathy, disbelief. The title of the post is catchy, something like, "Rich woman humiliates black waitress, then gets what she deserves." This headline alone draws attention. People are naturally drawn to stories that promise both drama and resolution. They want to know, what happened to the rich woman? Did she face any consequences? What about the waitress? Did things get better for her? These unanswered questions keep people clicking and sharing. As the video spreads, it becomes more than just a viral moment. It becomes a social statement. It taps into broader themes that people care deeply about: respect, fairness, and the consequences of privilege. Comments start pouring in. Some people express outrage at the woman's behavior, calling for justice. Others share their own stories of mistreatment in the service industry, creating a sense of solidarity around the waitress. The internet is a double-edged sword, and when people see an injustice unfold, they respond fast. Outrage spreads like wildfire. Users on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook repost the video with hashtags like #InstantKarma and #ServiceMatters. People tag the woman's identity. Within hours, someone recognizes her, and her name becomes public knowledge. Here, the suspense deepens. How will the woman react when she realizes the world knows what she did? Will she apologize? Will she try to deny it? The internet waits, eager for any sign of her response. Meanwhile, the video keeps circulating, gaining millions of views and shares. This is the moment when karma begins to take shape, not in private, but in public view, with the entire internet acting as a witness. The rich woman's carefully curated reputation starts to crumble. People uncover her social media profiles, her business affiliations, even her personal connections. The story shifts from a single act of rudeness to a reckoning for her entire identity. News outlets pick up the story next, drawn by the viral nature of the video. Headlines like "Entitled Woman Throws Coffee at Waitress," "Faces Internet Wrath," appear on blogs and websites. Local news stations run short segments about the incident, and the woman's face starts appearing everywhere. Suddenly, what started as a bad day at a cafe turns into a PR disaster. At this point, the rich woman's silence only makes things worse. The internet is relentless. People bombard her with messages, demanding an apology. Others go further. They contact the businesses she's affiliated with, urging them to cut ties with her. Companies know how damaging public outrage can be, and they act fast. By now, the woman's friends and colleagues are starting to distance themselves from her. No one wants to be associated with someone whose name is trending for all the wrong reasons. It's not just about the coffee incident anymore. It's about what it symbolizes. It's a reminder that no matter how wealthy or powerful you are, your actions have consequences. As pressure mounts, the rich woman finally decides to respond. She issues a public statement, likely through a lawyer, apologizing for her behavior. But by now, it's too late. the damage is done. The public sees the apology as insincere, a desperate attempt to save face rather than a genuine expression of regret. Here's where the real drama lies. The same power that wealth once gave her is now working against her. The woman can't control the narrative anymore. The internet has taken over. Every move she makes is scrutinized. Every word she says is picked apart. People don't just want an apology. They want accountability. And then, another twist. The cafe issues a statement in support of the waitress, announcing that they've raised money for her as a show of solidarity. Donations pour in from across the country. People who've seen the video feel compelled to help, turning their anger at the woman into kindness for the waitress. This is where karma delivers its final blow. The rich woman not only loses her reputation, she also becomes a symbol of what not to do. Invitations to exclusive events disappear. Professional opportunities dry up. People who once sought her approval now avoid her entirely. Her downfall is swift and public, and there's no hiding from it. Meanwhile, the waitress's life takes a surprising turn. The outpouring of support changes her situation for the better. She's offered new opportunities, perhaps even a better job or a scholarship. The kindness she receives from strangers restores her faith in people. The story, which began with a humiliating encounter over a cup of coffee, ends with a powerful message. What you put into the world comes back to you, often when you least expect it. And in this case, karma didn't just tap the rich woman on the shoulder. It knocked her down in front of millions. As the rich woman walks away from the cafe, her smug expression shows she thinks she's gotten away with it. She believes her status protects her from any fallout. But little does she know, life has a way of balancing the scales, and karma is about to strike back in a way she never imagined. Within hours, the video of her disgraceful act is everywhere. Social media is ablaze with reactions. People are sharing the clip, tagging her name, and expressing their outrage. The woman's phone starts buzzing uncontrollably. Notifications of comments, shares, and tags flood in. Each ping is a reminder that she's no longer in control of her narrative. Did you see what she did? One comment reads, "How can someone be so cruel?" Another user posts, entitled much, "She'll get what's coming to her." The anger is palpable, and it fuels a collective outrage that spreads like wildfire. As more people view the video, the comments become harsher. People dig into her past, uncovering old posts that reveal her arrogance and privileged lifestyle. Her once glamorous social media profile now looks like a gallery of entitlement. Memes begin to emerge, mocking her behavior, with captions that highlight her hypocrisy. Karma doesn't stop at public outrage. It begins to seep into every aspect of her life. The luxury brands she once flaunted start to distance themselves. "We are appalled by her behavior," one company tweets, announcing they're terminating her endorsement deal. "We do not stand for disrespect towards anyone, regardless of their position." This statement reverberates through her social circles. Her so-called friends, those who once flocked to her side at lavish parties, are now avoiding her. The same people who enjoyed the perks of her wealth and influence are suddenly silent. The rich woman's world, which revolved around luxury and exclusivity, begins to crumble. She feels the isolation creeping in, but her pride prevents her from acknowledging it. At work, the fallout continues. Colleagues who once admired her are now hesitant to associate with her. Rumors spread. "Did you hear about her?" They whisper, exchanging glances of disbelief. How could she treat someone like that? The rich woman starts to realize that her reputation has taken a hit far beyond her expectations. She feels the walls closing in, but her arrogance blinds her to the reality that her actions have consequences. Meanwhile, the waitress becomes an unexpected symbol of resilience. The video had captured her shock and humiliation, but it also showcased her strength. Support pours in from strangers around the country. Donations flood in, and social media users rally to help her. She starts receiving job offers from reputable establishments, eager to support a person who endured such unfair treatment. As the waitress's life begins to flourish, The rich woman's situation grows more dire. The contrast is striking. One woman rises from the ashes, while the other is consumed by the flames of her own making. Every day that passes feels heavier for the rich woman, as she watches her world unravel. The media picks up the story, amplifying the rich woman's downfall. Articles titled, "The Fall of the Coffee Queen" flood the internet. Headlines read, "How One Woman's Arrogance Led to Her Ruin." She finds herself constantly scrutinized, and every new article brings fresh waves of humiliation. Public pressure mounts. People demand accountability, not just for her actions, but for the attitudes she represents. In a world that increasingly values equality and respect, she stands as a reminder of the past, a figure that many want to see brought down. Finally, the rich woman realizes that she can no longer hide from the consequences of her actions. The moment of truth arrives when she decides to issue a public apology. But as she sits in front of the camera, a sense of dread washes over her. What was meant to be a heartfelt message feels more like a last-ditch effort to salvage her reputation. "I'm sorry for what happened. It was a mistake," she stammers, but her words lack sincerity. The public sees through her facade, reading between the lines. They know she isn't genuinely remorseful. She's merely trying to reclaim her former life. As her apology circulates online, it receives mixed reactions. Some feel it's too little, too late. Others criticize her for not addressing the racial implications of her actions. Comments like, "You think a few words will erase your behavior," flood in. The rich woman's attempt at redemption only adds fuel to the fire. At this point, she has become a case study, a lesson in humility for everyone watching. People share her story as a cautionary tale, emphasizing the importance of respect and kindness in every interaction. They understand that privilege does not grant immunity from accountability. In the days that follow, the rich woman's life feels like a shadow of its former self. Invitations to exclusive events dry up. Those who once sought her approval now look the other way. She becomes a ghost in her own social circles, and the lavish lifestyle she once enjoyed begins to slip away. Every time she opens her social media, her heart sinks. Her friends are posting pictures of their outings, celebrating milestones, and sharing happy moments, while she sits alone, grappling with her decisions. Her high society world is now a distant memory, replaced by the harsh reality of her choices. The saga serves as a poignant reminder of the power of social media and the collective voice of the public. What began as an act of rudeness transformed into a phenomenon that challenged the very foundations of privilege. The rich woman's story becomes emblematic of the era, a stark reminder that every action has consequences, and there's no escaping the ripple effect of our behavior. As she watches the world move on without her, the weight of her actions begins to sink in. She's lost more than just her reputation. She's lost her sense of belonging, her network, and her identity. The rich woman is left with a haunting question. How did she let a moment of arrogance destroy everything she held dear? In the days following the incident, the rich woman finds herself in a whirlwind of emotions. The cafe incident, captured on video and spread across social media, isn't just a fleeting moment of embarrassment. It's a life-altering event. Each morning, she wakes up to the same harsh reality, a reality where her name is synonymous with arrogance and disrespect. She scrolls through her social media, where hashtags like #karma and #coffeequeen dominate the conversation. The vibrant life she once flaunted now feels like a distant memory. Instead of glamorous parties and luxury vacations, her feeds are filled with images of the waitress, now celebrated for her grace under pressure. The waitress is receiving heartfelt messages and job offers, while the rich woman struggles to maintain her composure amidst the chaos. As time passes, isolation creeps in like a thief in the night. Friends who once flocked to her side are nowhere to be found. They've turned their backs, choosing instead to associate with people who embody respect and kindness. At social gatherings, whispers follow her like shadows. "Did you hear about her?" people say, exchanging knowing glances. The rich woman can feel the weight of their judgment. In the silence of her grand home, she grapples with her newfound solitude. The luxurious lifestyle she once enjoyed now feels like a prison. The extravagant decor and lavish parties that once brought her joy now serve as a constant reminder of her fall from grace. Every corner of her home echoes with memories of laughter and celebration, but now it feels empty. She tries to fill the void with material possessions, new clothes, fancy dinners, and spa days, but nothing seems to mend the deep-seated pain of regret. With the media still buzzing about her disgraceful act, public humiliation becomes her constant companion. News outlets thrive on her downfall, dissecting every aspect of her life. Articles pop up daily, detailing not just the incident, but also her past actions. The rise and fall of a socialite. One headline reads, capturing her journey from admired to despised. The woman, once a fixture in high society, is now a cautionary tale. Every report highlights her lavish lifestyle and entitlement, peeling back the layers of her character to reveal a flawed human being. In her heart, she knows she deserves the scrutiny, but the pain of watching her reputation crumble is overwhelming. In the quiet moments, she reflects on her life choices. Was she always this way? Did her wealth blind her to the struggles of others? These questions linger in her mind like dark clouds, refusing to dissipate. She thinks back to her upbringing, how her parents taught her the importance of kindness and humility. Had she forgotten those lessons in her pursuit of status and wealth? One evening, as she sits alone, a realization strikes her. She picks up her phone and watches the video of the incident again. The moment she threw the coffee, the look of shock on the waitress's face, it hits her like a wave. For the first time, she sees herself through the eyes of the woman she wronged. The rich woman feels a surge of guilt. The waitress didn't deserve that treatment. This moment becomes her wake-up call. She starts to understand the gravity of her actions and the impact they have on others. No longer is she just a wealthy individual. She is a human being, capable of making mistakes. The thought of reaching out to the waitress begins to form in her mind. Could she make amends? Would the waitress even want to hear from her? With a heavy heart, the rich woman decides to take a step toward redemption. She knows it won't be easy, but she feels a strong urge to reach out. She begins to research the waitress's story, discovering the incredible support she's received. The waitress has become a local hero, and the rich woman feels a mix of admiration and shame. Determined, she writes a heartfelt letter. In it, she apologizes for her actions, acknowledging the pain she caused. She expresses her desire to make things right and asks if they could meet. The act of writing the letter feels cathartic. She pours her emotions onto the page, hoping it will reach the waitress's heart. But after sending the letter, doubts creep in. What if the waitress doesn't forgive her? What if she turns her away? These thoughts plague the rich woman, and she feels the weight of her past choices bearing down on her. The fear of rejection is almost paralyzing, yet she knows she must try. Days pass with no response. The rich woman finds herself checking her phone obsessively, hoping for an email or message. Each time she hears a notification, her heart races, only to be met with disappointment. The silence is deafening, and she begins to second-guess her decision. Was this effort in vain? One afternoon, she goes for a walk to clear her mind. The fresh air feels good, but the pain of her actions still lingers. As she strolls through the park, she notices people gathering around. Curiosity piqued, she approaches the crowd and discovers it's a small rally in support of the waitress. People are sharing stories of kindness and compassion, celebrating the strength of the human spirit. The rich woman stands in the background, watching as the community rallies around the waitress. She feels a mix of emotions, pride for the waitress and envy for the sense of belonging she has lost. Suddenly, the waitress steps up to the microphone. She speaks about her journey, emphasizing the importance of kindness and understanding. The rich woman feels her heart sink. Here is a woman she once disrespected, standing strong and inspiring others. The words resonate deeply within her, igniting a flicker of hope. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, she receives a response from the waitress. It's a simple email, acknowledging the letter but lacking the forgiveness she hoped for. The waitress expresses that while she appreciates the apology, trust is not easily rebuilt. Reading the email brings tears to the rich woman's eyes. She understands the truth behind those words. Trust takes time, and she has a long road ahead if she wants to earn it back. Determined to change, the rich woman starts volunteering at local charities. She engages with people from all walks of life, seeking to understand their struggles and stories. Each encounter teaches her valuable lessons in empathy and humility. The more she gives, the more she learns about the world outside her bubble. She begins to find joy in helping others, and slowly, she feels a shift within herself. The sense of purpose replaces the emptiness she felt for so long. Yet, even with her newfound passion for helping others, the thought of the waitress never leaves her mind. Months later, during one of her volunteer shifts, she is surprised to see the waitress there, helping out. The rich woman's heart races as she approaches her, unsure of how the interaction will unfold. The waitress looks up, and for a moment, they lock eyes. The air is thick with tension, but the waitress greets her with a nod. "I didn't expect to see you here," she says, her voice steady but cautious. "I'm trying to make amends," the rich woman replies, feeling vulnerable. "I want to learn from my mistakes." They stand there, two women from very different worlds, both forever changed by a moment in time. It's a meeting filled with unspoken words, a chance to start anew. As they talk, the rich woman shares her journey of reflection, revealing how deeply the incident affected her. The waitress listens, her expression softening. She appreciates the rich woman's honesty and vulnerability. They discuss their lives, their experiences, and the importance of understanding and respect. Slowly, the walls between them begin to crumble. It's a long process, and the road to forgiveness is not easy. But this moment is a significant step forward for both women. It symbolizes the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, growth, and healing. In the weeks that follow, their paths cross more often. They start working together on community projects, building a bond based on mutual respect and understanding. The rich woman learns to listen, to truly understand the struggles of others, while the waitress sees the rich woman's sincere efforts to change. As the video of the incident spread like wildfire, it ignited conversations across social media platforms, news outlets, and even coffee shops. The rich woman, once seen as a symbol of success and privilege, was now a focal point of discussion. Each repost and share brought with it a wave of comments, opinions, and reactions. Some people laughed, some expressed anger, while others felt a sense of schadenfreude, delighting in the downfall of someone they perceived as arrogant. Among those watching the fallout was a young girl named Mia, who worked part-time at a local coffee shop. Mia was no stranger to the struggles of the working class. She often worked long hours to help her single mother make ends meet. When she stumbled upon the video, it struck a chord deep within her. Maya saw the waitress, someone she could relate to, someone who represented the everyday struggle of making a living while facing the disdain of entitled customers. Mia felt a rush of empathy for the waitress. In her mind, this wasn't just a random incident. It was a reflection of a larger issue in society. She remembered her own experiences with rude customers who looked down on her for working in a service job. The anger bubbled inside her, but so did a sense of inspiration. The waitress became a symbol of resilience, and Mia wanted to be part of that change. Determined to raise awareness about the treatment of service workers, Maya took to social media. She created a post that highlighted the struggles of waitstaff, calling on her friends and followers to show kindness and respect to those who serve them. Mia's heartfelt words resonated with many, and the post quickly went viral. People began sharing their own experiences, both as customers and as workers. As the movement gained traction, local businesses began to take notice. Restaurants, coffee shops, and retail stores started implementing policies to promote kindness and respect among customers and employees. Some even organized training sessions for staff to handle difficult situations with grace and professionalism. The rich woman's reckless act had sparked a wave of change, one that no one could have predicted. Mia, now at the forefront of this movement, decided to organize a kindness campaign. She gathered her friends and fellow workers to create posters, share stories, and hold community meetings. They aimed to educate the public about the importance of treating everyone with dignity, regardless of their job. It was about creating a culture of respect that transcended socioeconomic boundaries. In the meantime, the rich woman's world continued to spiral. She watched as her reputation disintegrated, but she also noticed the positive shift in her community. The waitress's story was being shared far and wide, inspiring many to stand against disrespect. One day, while scrolling through her social media, the rich woman stumbled upon Mia's posts. The passion and determination radiating from the young girl moved her. Suddenly, she felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps she could turn this situation around. Perhaps she could contribute to the movement that had emerged from her wrongdoing. The rich woman reached out to Mia, sending a message that she wanted to help in any way she could. At first, Mia was skeptical. Why would someone who had acted so cruelly want to help now? After some back and forth, Mia agreed to meet the rich woman. They met at the very café where the incident occurred. The atmosphere was charged with tension and uncertainty. The rich woman arrived, looking a bit lost, but also determined. As they sat down, Maya felt the weight of the moment. This was the woman who had caused so much pain, yet here she was, ready to make amends. The rich woman began by apologizing for her actions. "I was blinded by my privilege," she admitted. "I didn't see the hurt I was causing. I want to change that." Maya listened, her initial skepticism giving way to cautious curiosity. This was an opportunity for both of them, an opportunity to bridge the gap between their worlds. Together, they brainstormed ideas for the kindness campaign. They discussed workshops, community events, and ways to raise funds to support local service workers. The rich woman offered to use her connections to secure sponsorships and donations. Mia couldn't believe it. The once-loathed socialite was now offering to help the very community she had harmed. With their combined efforts, the campaign took off. They organized events that brought together service workers and customers, encouraging conversations that had long been avoided. They shared stories of kindness, resilience, and understanding, creating a platform for everyone to be heard. The rich woman stood side by side with Mia, facing the public together. As the campaign gained momentum, it attracted the attention of local media. News reporters covered their events, highlighting the powerful transformation of both the rich woman and the community. People began to see the rich woman not just as a former villain, but as someone striving for redemption. The waitress, too, was invited to speak at events. She became a prominent figure in the campaign, sharing her story and encouraging others to treat service workers with respect. The three of them, Mia, the rich woman, and the waitress, formed an unexpected alliance, united in their mission to create a more compassionate society. For the rich woman, the journey was not just about helping others. It was about her own personal growth. She began attending workshops on empathy, social justice, and community building. With each lesson, she peeled back the layers of her former self, learning about the privileges she had taken for granted. In quiet moments, she reflected on her life choices. The glamour and extravagance that once defined her felt hollow now. She found joy in the simplest moments, sharing a laugh with the waitress, listening to Maya's stories, and connecting with people in a meaningful way. Mia, too, was growing. She discovered a passion for advocacy and community organizing that she never knew she had. Her confidence blossomed as she stood on stage, speaking to large audiences about the importance of kindness and respect. She felt empowered, knowing she was part of something bigger than herself. However, not everyone was on board with their movement. Critics emerge, questioning the rich woman's sincerity. Can she really change? They asked. Is this just a publicity stunt? The doubts lingered, and the trio faced backlash online and in person. But they stood strong. The rich woman acknowledged the criticism and used it as fuel to keep pushing forward. She knew she had to prove that she was genuinely committed to change. They continued organizing events, engaging with the community, and sharing their message of respect. One day, during a community event, they invited people to share their stories. The energy in the room was palpable as individuals stepped forward, each with a unique experience of kindness or disrespect. The waitress shared her story again, detailing the day her life changed forever. As she spoke, the rich woman watched, tears welling in her eyes. This was not just a story of one person. It was a story of resilience and transformation for an entire community. She realized that the ripple effect of that single incident had created waves of change, not only for herself, but for everyone involved. As the event concluded, Maya took the microphone and turned to the rich woman. "You've shown us that it's never too late to change," she said, her voice strong and confident. "We all make mistakes. It's what we do afterward that defines us." The crowd erupted in applause, and the rich woman felt a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in a long time. The kindness campaign continued to thrive, drawing attention from neighboring towns and cities. People began to adopt the message of respect, kindness, and understanding, spreading it far beyond their community. The rich woman, Mia, and the waitress became symbols of change, inspiring others to stand up against disrespect in their own lives. Months later, as they looked back on their journey, they marveled at how far they had come. What began as a moment of shame had transformed into a powerful movement, one that had the potential to change lives for the better. The rich woman realized that this was her chance to redefine her legacy. She knew she would continue to work alongside Mia and the waitress, striving to make a difference in the world. Each day brought new challenges, but they faced them together, united by their shared experiences and commitment to creating a kinder society. The coffee incident that shocked the community served as more than just an isolated event. It became a powerful lesson for everyone involved. As news spread, people from all walks of life began to reflect on their own behaviors and attitudes. What could have been just a moment of cruelty transformed into an opportunity for growth, understanding, and connection. The first lesson was about empathy. Many people realized that the way they treated service workers reflected deeper societal attitudes. The rich woman's actions shone a spotlight on the often overlooked struggles faced by those in the service industry. For every rude customer who dismisses their waiter or cashier, there is a person behind the counter trying their best to make a living. This incident prompted conversations about respect and compassion. In the days following the event, discussions erupted on social media. Hashtags like #RespectServiceWorkers and #KarmaIsReal started trending. People shared their own experiences, stories of both kindness and cruelty they had witnessed in cafes, restaurants, and shops. It became clear that the incident resonated with many, prompting a collective awakening. Social media played a pivotal role in amplifying these lessons. Videos, posts, and articles about the incident circulated widely, creating a ripple effect. Influencers and celebrities joined in, using their platforms to advocate for kindness and respect. They urged their followers to treat service workers with dignity, emphasizing that everyone deserves respect, regardless of their job. One particularly impactful video featured the waitress sharing her story. She spoke of the hurt caused by the coffee incident, but also expressed gratitude for the support she received afterward. Her vulnerability touched hearts, inspiring others to speak out against mistreatment. The comments section was flooded with stories of empathy, where people shared how they had changed their attitudes and behaviors after witnessing the fallout from the incident. Another significant lesson was the power of community. As the rich woman faced backlash, many people rallied around the waitress. Local businesses offered support, promising to donate a portion of their profits to help service workers in need. Community members organized events to raise funds for organizations that provided assistance to those in the service industry. In this supportive environment, friendships blossomed. People who may never have crossed paths found common ground in their shared desire for change. The Waitress became a symbol of resilience, inspiring many to stand up against unfair treatment. They realized that their actions could contribute to a larger movement, one that advocated for kindness and respect across society. For the rich woman, this incident was a turning point that forced her to confront her privilege. She began attending workshops and seminars on empathy and social justice, seeking to understand the world beyond her bubble. With each lesson, she peeled back layers of her former self, learning about the struggles faced by those she once looked down upon. In her journey of self-reflection, she realized that true wealth is measured not by money, but by the impact one has on others. This newfound understanding prompted her to engage in conversations with people from all backgrounds. She learned to listen actively, to empathize, and to recognize the value of every individual, regardless of their position in life. As the movement grew, it became clear that educating the younger generation was vital. Schools began to incorporate discussions about empathy, kindness, and respect into their curricula. Teachers used the coffee incident as a case study, encouraging students to think critically about their actions and the impact they have on others. Mia, the young girl who had sparked the kindness campaign, took it upon herself to organize workshops at her school. She spoke passionately about the importance of treating everyone with respect, sharing stories of her own experiences as a service worker. The students listened intently, and many began to reconsider how they treated those in service roles. As the movement continued to gain momentum, local governments took notice. They began to implement policies that aimed to protect service workers from mistreatment. New regulations were put in place to ensure fair treatment, and businesses were encouraged to adopt codes of conduct that prioritized respect and kindness. This newfound awareness extended beyond the local community. Other towns and cities started to emulate the kindness campaign, creating their own initiatives to advocate for service workers. What began as a single incident had sparked a nationwide conversation about respect, dignity, and the value of every individual. With this momentum came the opportunity to challenge societal stereotypes and biases. The rich woman, Mia, and the Waitress worked together to create a series of workshops aimed at breaking down barriers. They addressed issues of classism, racism, and other forms of discrimination that often affected service workers. These workshops became a safe space for dialogue, allowing participants to share their experiences and learn from one another. People began to realize that everyone has a story, and understanding those stories fosters empathy. By challenging stereotypes, they worked towards building a more inclusive and compassionate community. The coffee incident also prompted individuals to reflect on their own behavior. Many started asking themselves difficult questions. How do I treat others? Am I perpetuating a culture of disrespect? What can I do to create positive change in my community? This self-reflection led to a broader movement of accountability. People began to hold each other responsible for their actions, encouraging friends and family to treat service workers with kindness. As individuals made conscious efforts to change their behavior, the culture around service industries began to shift. The lessons learned from this incident did not stop there. They became part of an ongoing journey of growth and transformation for everyone involved. As the community continued to embrace these lessons, they recognized that change is not a destination but a continuous process. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to a larger movement of respect and compassion. People began to celebrate these small victories, sharing stories of kindness in their everyday lives. The impact of the coffee incident was felt not only in the immediate community, but also in the hearts and minds of individuals across the country. As time passed, the legacy of the incident began to take shape. The rich woman, the Waitress, and Mia had sparked a movement that inspired countless others to treat service workers with dignity. They had transformed a moment of cruelty into a lasting legacy of kindness, reminding everyone that our actions matter and that we each hold the power to create change. In the end, this incident served as a powerful reminder that no one is above anyone else. It taught us that we are all part of a larger community, and that kindness should be the guiding principle in our interactions with others. As the movement continued to grow, so did the belief that empathy and respect could create a better world for everyone. The incident at the cafe was not just another day at work for the waitress. It was a moment that would change her life forever. As the rich woman hurled her coffee, time seemed to stand still for everyone in the cafe. The sound of the cup shattering on the floor echoed in the small space, and all eyes turned to the waitress. Her name was Jasmine, a bright young woman who had dreams of becoming a nurse. She worked multiple jobs to support her studies, pouring her heart and soul into each shift. Jasmine loved her job. She enjoyed the little chats with regular customers and the smiles she could bring to people's faces. But on that fateful day, everything changed. When the hot coffee splashed across her uniform, Jasmine felt a mix of shock and humiliation. The cafe fell silent. The rich woman, looking haughty and dismissive, didn't even apologize. Instead, she turned away, leaving Jasmine standing there, soaked and stunned. In that instant, Jasmine's heart raced. The embarrassment washed over her like the coffee that now stained her clothes. Yet, deep down, something stirred within her. This wasn't just about the coffee. It was about respect, dignity, and the way society viewed people in service roles. The moment felt like a defining crossroads. Would she let this woman's cruelty define her day, her week, or even her life? As Jasmine cleaned up the mess, she could feel the eyes of the other customers on her. Some looked sympathetic, while others seemed indifferent. The incident quickly spread on social media, with people sharing their outrage and support for her. But in the days following, Jasmine found herself struggling with the fallout. She received messages of encouragement, but the negative comments also poured in. Some people questioned her professionalism, blaming her for the incident. How could they? She was the victim here. The mixed reactions weighed heavily on her shoulders. It felt like a public shaming for something that was beyond her control. In her quiet moments, Jasmine reflected on the situation. She had always been taught to be kind and to forgive easily. But this time, she felt something different. She felt anger and hurt, emotions she hadn't allowed herself to feel before. The incident had opened a door she had kept closed for so long, a door that led to her own strength and resilience. That evening, after a long shift, she sat in her small apartment, surrounded by textbooks and nursing materials. The weight of her dreams pressed down on her. Would she let this incident overshadow everything she worked for? Or would she rise above it? Jasmine decided then and there that she would not be defined by a single moment of cruelty. Word of the incident traveled fast, and soon, local news outlets picked it up. Jasmine's story gained traction, and people began rallying around her. Support poured in from various corners of the community. She received messages from fellow waitstaff who had faced similar disrespect. They shared their stories of resilience and strength. As more people reached out, Jasmine began to feel a sense of community forming around her. This wasn't just about one incident. It was a collective struggle. The stories resonated deeply, igniting a fire in her heart. Jasmine started to understand that she wasn't alone. She was part of something bigger. With this newfound support, Jasmine began to think about her role not just as a waitress, but as an advocate for service workers everywhere. She decided to share her experiences through social media, speaking out about the challenges faced by people in her line of work. Her posts combined her personal story with statistics about the treatment of service workers. Jasmine's social media presence grew, and she became an unexpected voice for the voiceless. She advocated for better treatment of service workers, calling for respect and dignity in every encounter. Her followers grew as people resonated with her message. She became a beacon of hope and resilience, inspiring others to stand up against mistreatment. Months later, Jasmine unexpectedly encountered the rich woman at a charity event. The woman was there to promote her new business venture, but Jasmine had different plans. She felt a mix of apprehension and determination. Would she confront her, or would she walk away? With her heart pounding, she approached the woman. The rich woman looked taken aback, but quickly masked her surprise with a cold smile. "What do you want?" she asked, her tone sharp. Jasmine took a deep breath, her voice steady. "I want to tell you how your actions affected me," she said, her gaze unwavering. "You didn't just throw coffee, you threw away my dignity. But I've learned to rise above that moment." The rich woman's expression changed slightly, but Jasmine pressed on, her voice gaining strength. "I refuse to let your actions define me. I've found my voice, and I'll keep speaking out for those who can't." This encounter, though tense, was a pivotal moment for Jasmine. She realized that forgiveness was not about condoning the behavior. It was about freeing in the wake of the shocking incident at the café, where Jasmine, a hard-working waitress, found herself the target of a wealthy woman's disdain. A remarkable transformation began to unfold. The moment that should have left her feeling powerless instead sparked a fire within her, igniting a wave of community support that would change her life forever. The drama of that day was just the beginning. It was what came next that truly highlighted the power of human connection. Herself from the chains of resentment. By confronting the woman, she took back her power, reclaiming her narrative. Jasmine began to share this story publicly, highlighting the importance of forgiveness not just for the sake of others, but for her own peace of mind. It was a lesson she wanted to impart to everyone. That forgiveness can be a form of strength, not weakness. As Jasmine continued her journey, she partnered with local organizations advocating for service workers' rights. She spoke at events, sharing her story and the lessons she had learned. Jasmine became a respected figure in her community, inspiring change and encouraging others to join the fight for dignity and respect in the service industry. Her advocacy work flourished, creating a ripple effect in the community. Jasmine organized workshops for service workers, helping them learn how to handle difficult situations, assert their rights, and find their voices. These workshops became a safe haven for many, empowering individuals who once felt powerless. Through her activism, Jasmine not only healed herself, but also sparked change in her community. Stories of other service workers began to emerge, sharing their struggles and triumphs. The cafe where the incident happened became a focal point for discussions about respect in the service industry. In the months that followed, a kindness initiative was launched, encouraging businesses to treat their staff and customers with respect and kindness. Cafes and restaurants across the city began to adopt codes of conduct promoting dignity and respect for everyone. Jasmine's story didn't end with the rich woman or even with her advocacy work. It marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. She continued her nursing studies with a renewed sense of purpose, eager to serve others not just as a nurse, but as a champion of kindness and respect. Through her journey, she learned that resilience comes in many forms. It is the ability to rise from the ashes of humiliation and turn pain into purpose. As she walked down the path of her dreams, Jasmine knew she carried the strength of those who supported her, the voices of the community behind her, and the lessons learned from a single moment that changed everything. Jasmine's legacy became a testament to the power of resilience. She proved that even in the face of adversity, one could rise and inspire change. Her story spread beyond her community, touching lives far and wide. People began to understand that every act of kindness counts and that change starts with individuals willing to stand up for what is right. As her journey continued, Jasmine remained committed to her goals, fostering a culture of respect and compassion in every space she occupied. She became a living example of how one moment of cruelty could lead to a movement for change, proving that even in the darkest moments, there is always a glimmer of hope. As news of the incident spread, Jasmine became an unexpected figure in her community. People began to rally around her, sharing her story and expressing their outrage over the treatment she had received. Social media posts turned into viral movements, showcasing not only Jasmine's plight, but also the broader issue of respect for service workers everywhere. Within days, a local news station picked up the story. A reporter reached out to Jasmine for an interview, wanting to hear her side of the events. Initially, she felt hesitant. Could she really share her pain publicly? Would it only open old wounds? But with encouragement from her friends and coworkers, she agreed. Sitting in front of the camera, Jasmine's heart raced. This was her moment to speak up, not just for herself, but for all those who had ever faced similar disrespect. As the questions came, she found her voice, recounting that fateful day when coffee splattered not only on her clothes, but also on her dignity. With each word, she felt a sense of empowerment growing within her. "I want people to understand that we are all human," she said, her voice steady. "We deserve to be treated with respect, regardless of our jobs." The interview resonated with viewers, and soon, it wasn't just Jasmine's story that gained attention. It was the story of every worker in the service industry. The public outcry reached far beyond social media. Support began to pour in from local organizations and fellow service workers who felt inspired by Jasmine's courage. They organized a rally in her honor, inviting people to gather and show solidarity for all workers who have faced similar disrespect. On the day of the rally, the atmosphere was electric. Signs were held high, proclaiming messages of support like "Respect all workers" and "Kindness is key." Jasmine stood at the forefront, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. The crowd was a tapestry of faces, her coworkers, friends, and even strangers who had heard her story. "Thank you for standing with me," she addressed the crowd, her voice breaking with emotion. "This is not just about me. This is about every person who has ever felt belittled in their job. Together, we can make a difference." As the rally gained media attention, local businesses began to take notice. Restaurant owners and managers started to reach out to Jasmine, inviting her to share her experiences and insights. They wanted to understand how they could foster a culture of respect within their establishments. Jasmine found herself at the center of discussions that she had never imagined. She was invited to speak at meetings, offering her perspective on what it meant to be a service worker and the importance of treating staff with kindness. This newfound platform allowed her to advocate for positive change, helping to shift the narrative around service jobs. Inspired by the support she received, Jasmine decided to create a network for service workers. She envisioned a safe space where they could share their stories, experiences, and challenges. With the help of local advocacy groups, she launched a community organization aimed at empowering service workers. The organization quickly gained traction, hosting workshops and events focused on skill building, resilience, and assertiveness training. Jasmine poured her heart into these sessions, knowing firsthand the importance of having a support system. The organization became a lifeline for many, offering resources and guidance to those navigating the complexities of the service industry. Despite the overwhelming support, Jasmine faced challenges along the way. Not everyone was on board with her message. Some business owners felt threatened by the changes she advocated for, fearing that they would lose customers or be forced to change their practices. But Jasmine stood firm. One particularly tense meeting with a group of restaurant owners left her shaken. They questioned her motivations and even accused her of trying to stir up trouble. "Why should we change what works for us?" one owner asked, dismissively. Jasmine took a deep breath, refusing to let their hostility discourage her. "Because treating people well is not just good business. It's the right thing to do," she replied, her voice unwavering. She shared her experiences and those of others who had faced similar treatment, hoping to open their eyes to the broader implications of their actions.